Hi and welcome to another episode of Eat, Smoke, Drink. Today I'm reviewing something a little bit unusual. Today I'm reviewing something called the Ardbeg Blasda. The Ardbeg Blasda is an experimentation with Ardbeg, and most people have never heard of this before. It is technically the unpeated version of the Ardbeg Blasda. The interesting thing about it is they discontinued it. Whether you see it as a success or a failure, that's another question, because I mean, at the end of the day, when you say Ardbeg, everyone goes, oh, heavily peated. It's a very, very peated, resiny whiskey. You're right. In this case, they purposely made one that is unpeated, and I don't think it was received very well, and they eventually discontinued it, because if it was, and they obviously would discontinue it. But years later, it's become an extremely interesting experience. It's 40%, and if you look at the color, what a bizarre color. Look at that. What a bizarre color. I mean, first of all, it's an Ardbeg in a clear glass. And second of all, what a bizarre color. So today I'm breaking my format a little bit. I'm going to do no water sample because it's only 40%. I don't want to screw that up. Let's get nosing. It's still trippy and really bizarre nosing an Ardbeg without peat. But you do get peat. Now, when we did this in the tasting, I actually asked, if it's no peat, why do you get peat? And I was told the peat that you're smelling in there is literally residual peat from the system itself. So from the kiln, from the still, from everything, all the peat you're getting in there, the tiny amount of peat, is the residual peat. So they didn't try to amp up the peat, it's just residual peat within the system. So that's how much peat usually is in an Ardbeg whiskey. So this one here, I can immediately get the salinity, I immediately get sweetness, honey, vanilla, a bit of white pepper and ginger spice, which all sounds like quintessential Ardbeg. And then I start to go, where's the peat? Almost no peat. But a little bit of peat, a little bit of smoke in the background, a little bit of oil, but really, really trippy experience. And I would presume it's a bourbon cask as well, from the color, but also from the smell. It's very vanilla. Let's get tasting. So the whiskey itself is very underpowered, very easy drinking, and you get the peat and the taste a lot more than the nose. Slightly oily, slightly saline. Sorry, slightly oily, quite a bit saline, my mistake. But sweetness comes through, and you definitely get that long finish of oil and a reminiscent of the peat that coats your mouth, but not like it's a really bizarre flavor. It's a really bizarre experience. And I'm featuring it because my channel is all about, the left field bizarre bottlings that most people have never heard of, that you can still get. You can still get this through auctions. You'll probably find them in some shops sitting on the shelf for a long time. I'm getting a slight spice, but every flavor in it is so minute and mild. It's just so tame. It's not like the Ardbeg that you know, and it's almost underflavored. It's almost completely underpowered. But you do get that. The bizarre thing is that when you think about it, you do get that quintessential Ardbeg flavor, except it's not the quintessential Ardbeg flavor. So you get that salinity, you get that body, but it's just the peat is just screwing with my mind. You get that honey. And on my third sip, I'm getting that slight leatheriness, like a wet leather. I'm getting this very, very slight hint of kelpy, iodine-y kind of taste. Grassy, like a grassy smell. Very citrusy. It's quite citrusy. I'm thinking definitely a lemon rind. Definitely a lemon rind. And that spice, a hint of spice. But yeah, I mean, it's just screwing with my mind. But anyway, whiskey pairing, cigar pairing. to be honest, I'm not even sure if you really should pair this with a cigar. It's so mild, it's so mild and mellow that it will just be overshadowed by that. If you're going to buy this bottle, it's really a novelty bottle, to be completely frank with you. It's very easy to drink, it's very palatable in terms of approachability, but is it compelling? Look, I'll be completely honest. I think by not having the heavy peat in there, Ardbeg has stripped themselves of that character, and especially by bottling at 40%, they've definitely stripped that character and complexity. But is it worth trying? 100% it's worth trying, because if you want to know what an Ardbeg is like without peat, how often do you get a heavily peated islay whiskey without peat? You know, Bruichladdich does a few, but really no one else really does. Like Laphroaig, for example. You know, Laphroaig would never do it. Would never do an unpeated version of Laphroaig. I would be interested to see what that's like. Bunnahabhain, yes, they do unpeated, but you know, when people say Islay, they always think Islay is peated. In this case, it's very trippy. Until next time, thank you for joining me today, and until next time, make sure you eat, smoke, drink. Cheers.